Welcome back to NFL Nexus, the place where we break down the biggest stories shaking up the league. Today, we are diving headfirst into a situation brewing in Indianapolis that is just fascinating. It's a high-stakes game of financial chicken where a single decision about one player has triggered a massive domino effect. We're talking about gambles, tough consequences, and a series of choices that could completely reshape the Colts roster, not just for this season, but for years to come. This is a story you're going to want to follow. So you have to ask yourself, how is it even possible? How can one single contract, one player's deal, put the entire future of a billion-dollar franchise in a really precarious spot? Well, we are about to see exactly how. We're going to unpack the corner the Indianapolis Colts have backed themselves into this offseason. It all started with one move, a single decision, that, like the first domino in a long line, has started a chain reaction that's now threatening everything. This is a perfect example of just how fragile NFL roster building can be. It's like a game of Jenga. You pull out the wrong piece, and the whole thing can come crashing down around you. Okay, so where did this whole situation begin? Well, it starts, as it so often does, with the quarterback. The first and biggest domino to fall was the Colts' decision on their starting QB, Daniel Jones. Now, look, Jones is a really complicated player to evaluate, right? One minute he shows you that top-tier talent, the arm, the athleticism that made him a high draft pick. But then the next, there are inconsistencies. And on top of that, he's coming back from a pretty significant injury. So the Colts were in a pickle. Do they commit long-term? Instead, they chose to kick the can down the road with a very, very expensive one-year solution. A solution that came with some massive risks. This wasn't a show of faith, it was a high-stakes bet. Now, to really get what's happening here, we need to quickly break down some NFL contract jargon. We need to talk about the transition tag. It's kind of like the franchise tag's riskier, more unpredictable cousin. See, with a franchise tag, you basically lock a player in for 1 year. It's simple. The transition tag, though, it's different. It allows Daniel Jones to go out and negotiate with any other team in the league. He can go find the best offer he can get, and if he signs an offer sheet with, say, the Vikings, the Colts have the right to match it. It's a right of first refusal. But here's the absolutely terrifying catch for the Colts. If another team offers Jones a contract that Indy thinks is just too expensive and they decide not to match it, Jones walks, and the Colts get nothing. Absolutely nothing. No draft picks, no players, zip. It is the definition of a high-wire act without a safety net. And this is the number that hangs over this entire situation, $37.8 million. Just let that sink in for a second. That is Daniel Jones' salary for 1 year on the transition tag. To give you some context, that's more than the annual salary of proven veteran quarterbacks like Jared Goff or Kirk Cousins. This isn't just a big number, it is a giant anchor chain to the Colts' salary cap. It just sits there on their books, taking up a massive chunk of their spending money, and it basically paralyzes them from making any other significant moves until this whole thing with Jones gets resolved one way or another. So let's really spell out what this all means. The bottom line is, this move doesn't secure the Colts quarterback for the future. Not at all. All it does is press pause and start a very expensive, very stressful waiting game. You've got massive uncertainty at the most important position in all of sports, which can bleed into the locker room. And now, you've basically encouraged your starting quarterback to go shop for a better deal elsewhere. The Colts are just sitting there, with nearly $38 million of their budget effectively frozen, waiting to see if they're going to have to match a contract they might not even want, or watch their starting quarterback walk out the door for absolutely nothing in return. It's a huge gamble. While nature abhors a vacuum, and in the NFL, a potential vacuum at quarterback gets filled with rumors and speculation almost instantly. With the Colts creating this cloud of uncertainty around their own guy, the league starts talking. People start wondering, well, what's their backup plan? What's plan B? And that speculation has opened the door for a very, very interesting name to enter the conversation. A surprising, incredibly talented, and most importantly, far, far cheaper alternative. And who is this wild card? None other than the former Heisman Trophy winner and the #1 overall pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, Kyler Murray. Now, we all know Kyler. He is an electric, dynamic talent with a skill set that's almost impossible to defend when he's on his game. His time with his last team didn't end great, and now he's a free agent, looking for a place to get a fresh start, a place to reset his career and prove to everyone that he's still that top-tier guy. And reports say he's got his eyes on Indianapolis. And this is where the whole dilemma comes into crystal clear focus. Let's just put these two side by side. On one hand, you have Daniel Jones. He's a known commodity for the team, but he's also coming off that major injury. And, oh yeah, he costs nearly $40 million for 1 year of total uncertainty. On the other hand, you have Kyler Murray, a guy with undeniable elite talent. He was the Offensive Rookie of the Year, who you could sign for the league minimum salary. We're talking less than $2 million. It's the classic low-risk, high-reward scenario versus a high-risk, incredibly high-cost gamble. The difference in price isn't just a couple $1,000,000. It is a massive chasm. It's the kind of money that could get you 2 or 3 other high-quality starters. And Albert Breer's reporting adds another huge factor here. The head coach, Shane Steichen. Steichen is widely seen as one of the best offensive coaches in the entire league, a real quarterback whisperer. I mean, just look at what he did as the offensive coordinator in Philly. He was the architect of the offense that developed Jalen Hurts from a promising young player into a full-blown MVP candidate who led the Eagles to the Super Bowl. And here's the key. With Daniel Jones likely spending a lot of the offseason just rehabbing his injury, Kyler Murray could step right in and get all of those crucial first-team reps in practice, learning the system, building chemistry. It's a golden opportunity for him. It really could be the perfect marriage, a coach who elevates quarterbacks and a quarterback who is desperate for a career revival. Okay, so let's get back to that $38 million elephant in the room. That cap hold for Daniel Jones isn't just some number on a spreadsheet. It has very real, very immediate, and very painful consequences for the entire roster. This is where that domino effect really starts to pick up speed and just smashes into the rest of the Colts offseason plans. All that money tied up in one player, a player who might not even be on the team, is money you can't spend anywhere else. And to see just how bad it is, just look at their current salary cap situation. Yeah, that's a negative sign. You are seeing that correctly. The Colts are currently $4.7 million over the NFL salary cap. This isn't just a minor issue. It's a direct violation of league rules. You literally are not allowed to begin the new league year over the cap. So before they can even think about signing a new free agent or even signing their own rookie draft class, they have to start cutting players just to get back to zero. They are starting this race way behind the starting line. And here comes the next domino. Being in the red like this puts the Colts at a massive competitive disadvantage. Think about it. The start of free agency is like Black Friday for NFL teams. It's a mad dash to sign the players who can fill your biggest needs. But while every other team is out there with their checkbooks open, trying to improve, the Colts front office is stuck. They're trapped in a crisis that they created, trying to perform emergency budget surgery just to become cap compliant. Every hour they spend trying to fix this mess is an hour they aren't using to actually make their football team better. And because the football gods have a wicked sense of humor, it's at this exact moment when the Colts' finances are at their absolute worst that the perfect player to fix one of their most desperate needs suddenly becomes available. You couldn't write it any better. It's the kind of opportunity that great teams jump on. But for the Colts, it might be a prize that's tantalizingly out of reach, all because of that first domino they pushed over. So what is that desperate need? It's their pass rush. Last season, it was basically a one-man show. Their rookie, Laiatu Latu, was incredible. He was a bright spot, racking up 8.5 sacks. But look at the rest of the defensive ends on the roster. Combined, they only managed 9 sacks. In today's NFL, that just doesn't cut it. If you only have one guy who can get to the quarterback, offenses will just throw 2 or 3 blockers at him all game long and completely neutralize him. You absolutely have to have another threat on the other side. And that threat could be this man, Trey Hendrickson. His former team decided not to use the franchise tag on him, meaning one of the most productive and consistent pass rushers in the entire league is now an unrestricted free agent. He's available to the highest bidder, and we're not just talking about a good player. This is a 4-time Pro Bowler, a former first-team All-Pro. He's a certified game wrecker. But what makes him such a perfect, almost too good to be true fit for the Colts is his history with their defensive coordinator, Lou Anarumo. Anarumo's defense is all about being aggressive and creating chaos. And that system is at its best when you have linemen like Hendrickson who can just dominate. And the proof is right there in the numbers. In Anarumo's system, Hendrickson was an absolute monster, posting an incredible 17.5 sacks in back-to-back seasons. A reunion between these two just makes too much sense from a football perspective. It's a perfect fit. But you knew there had to be a but, right? And it's a big one. It's the money. Elite game-changing talent comes with an elite game-changing price tag. And Hendrickson is projected to command a contract worth over $25 million per year. That would instantly make him one of the highest-paid defenders in the league. And for the Colts, a team that's already in the red and has a massive question mark at quarterback, that's a price tag that is, for right now, simply impossible to afford. So this brings us to the final, most difficult part of this entire puzzle. If the Colts somehow want to make a move for a guy like Trey Hendrickson, it's not a matter of just restructuring a contract or two. They need to find a massive amount of cap space, Let's do the math. They need the $25.4 million for Hendrickson, plus the $4.7 million they're already over the cap. That means they have to clear over $30 million from their books. $30 million. That is a colossal amount of money to create out of thin air. And there's really only one way to free up that kind of cash. It means making some incredibly tough and frankly painful decisions. This isn't about cutting a backup player on the fringes of the roster. This means you have to look at the core of your team, at established, productive veterans, guys who are leaders and fan favorites, and you have to figure out who you're willing to part with to make the numbers work. This is the brutal reality of the NFL salary cap. And reports suggest there are two main paths they could take, and neither of them is pretty. The first option would be trading their linebacker, Zaire Franklin. This is the heart and soul of their defense, a team captain, and the guy who led the entire NFL in tackles last season. Trading him would save about $5.7 million. That's enough to get them out of the red, but it's nowhere near enough to afford Hendrickson. Which leads to the nuclear option, parting ways with their number one wide receiver, Michael Pittman Jr. Trading or cutting him would free up a whopping $24 million. But then you've just solved your pass rush problem by creating a gigantic hole at wide receiver. You're just plugging one leak by creating another. And so it all comes back to that first domino, that $37.8 million transition tag on Daniel Jones. That single decision has started a chain reaction that has backed the Colts into an absolutely impossible corner. They're now faced with a franchise-altering choice. Do they stick with their quarterback at that massive cost and accept that it means they might have to gut other parts of the roster, trading away leaders like Franklin or top weapons like Pittman? Or do they cut their losses on that initial gamble, let Jones walk, pivot to a high-upside, low-cost option like Kyler Murray, and use those enormous savings to build a stronger, more balanced team? There's no easy answer here, and the path they choose will define their franchise for the next several years. So I'm putting the question to you. If you were the general manager of the Colts, what would you do? Let me know your plan down in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive and you want more breakdowns like this, do us a huge favor. Hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to NFL Nexus so you never miss an explainer. And while you're down there, a quick shout out to everyone who supports the channel. We've actually created a series of football-themed coloring books. They're perfect for kids, grandkids, or even for adults who just want to relax. You can find them using the link in the description or by scanning the QR code on your screen now. Your support really helps us keep making content like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.